Hey everyone, I'm Jordan Weber, and today I am going to demonstrate the fundamental movement warm-up. This is going to be a body weight warm-up that will progress into your activities for the day, whether it is a fitness training session or a sport training session. Whatever it may be, a warm-up is always going to help, one, increase the temperature of the muscles, increase the amount of blood flow, and then three, prepare the body for higher level movements like sprinting and jumping and tag games and other types of team sports. So this is a great warm-up strategy for any level to progress at, and we're going to go over just the fundamental movement exercises that are included in the warm-up. So we're going to go ahead and start with just a couple breathing exercises. Students can sit in the kneeling position like this, or I like to have people lay on their backs with their knees bent about 45 degrees. Okay. Now what we're going to do is just relax the head, and we're going to take an inhale through our nose, fill our belly, our rib cage, and the back. You can put your hands, pointer fingers on your stomach and thumbs on your back so that you can feel a 360-degree inhale. And then when we exhale, we're going to exhale out through our mouth. So it's an inhale softly through the nose. Fill everything up. Inhale again. Hold it. And long exhale. Through the mouth with pierced lips. Again, one more. Inhale through the nose. Fill everything up 360 degrees. At the end of your inhale, inhale again. And long exhale out through the mouth. Okay, from here, we can begin some static stretching for about 15 seconds on each side. First, starting with the supine figure 4. You can push that knee forward. This is a hip rotator or glute stretch. And then switch side. Static stretching in the beginning of a workout is perfectly fine as long as you follow it up with dynamic stretching. And you only want to hold for about 10 to 15 seconds. We don't need to be here for 30 to 60 seconds. After that, we're going to go for a groin stretch, holding our knees apart. We can rock side to side here. From here, what we're going to do is go for a supine hamstring stretch, one leg at a time, with the back of the head on the ground. This you can rotate at the ankles if you're here, and then switch rotations, and then switch sides and switch legs. Again, this is a hamstring stretch, just a supine hamstring stretch. Supine meaning laying on your back and just rotating the ankles. Okay. After those stretches, what we're going to do is move on to our side and then to our hands and knees. We're going to tuck the toes underneath us so to get an ankle and toe stretch. We're just going to rock forward and back from the hands and knees position, and forward and back. And then we're going to point the toes, sit on our ankles in the kneeling position, and rock side to side. After that, we're going to go to hands and knees. Going to push into downward dog, try to get a calf stretch here. Also maybe a hamstring stretch. We're going to relax the head and neck and try to get those heels down one at a time or both at the same time. Then from here, we're going to bring those knees down, reach across and through, and bring the head down to the ground for a nice spinal twist of the upper back, and then switch sides. Make sure you're breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth here, or you can just breathe through the nose. After that, we'll move to child pose, so sitting on the ankles, bringing the forehead down, relax the head and neck. A couple inhales and exhales here. So holding for about 10 seconds or about 1 to 2 inhales and exhales. From here, we're going to go cat-cow. rounding the back into a spinal flexion, and then slowly articulating the spine to spinal extension. Okay, and then from here back to rounded back, or you can call it turtle shell back, and then from here we're going to arch the back. After that, we're going to get into our half kneeling position, and from here we're going to make sure that our head's in line with our hips and knees, and then we're just going to squeeze this back glute, feel a stretch in the front of our hip flexor here, and then we can rock forward and back. Okay, noticing that these static stretches you're able to move in and out of these positions, and also understand that static stretching should only be held for about 10 to 15 seconds unless it's a stretching class. After your half kneeling, what we're going to do is get into a full lizard pose. So bringing the back leg as far back as you can and bringing the hands down on the inside of the foot. Then from here, what we're going to do is take the outside hand, leave it on the ground. Inside hand is going to reach up toward the sky. And an option to bring that back leg off the ground. Okay, and I'll give you, we'll switch side, and I'll show you the other way. And again, we're just holding for about 5 to 10 seconds and getting out of those positions pretty quickly. All right, so that is about a good full body approach to static stretching. Now we're going to move into some activation exercises before we get into dynamic. Activation exercises are motor control exercises. They also help prepare in a warm-up setting. The first motor control or activation exercise we're going to perform is a shoulder rotation. So this is just a really controlled shoulder rotation. As opposed to doing these, we're going to reach across the body and up, reach up overhead, reach all the way back and around. We're trying to make the biggest circle we can without using our back. So if you see someone rotating like this, okay, they're not rotating through their shoulder. So we're trying to assess their full range of motion of their shoulder without any compensation. Okay, and we're going to do about one on each side. If you do it slow enough, one, if you want to go through more of these, that's fine. So this is just a shoulder rotation. Okay, just seeing how those shoulders feel in that overhead range. Next, we're going to go to the back and get into a bridge or a hip lift position. So this is an activation drill for the glutes. So what we're going to do is knees are 90, palms are facing down, head is down. We're going to squeeze the glutes so the hips are in line with the knees, and then hold for about 5 to 10 seconds, and then recover. Now we're going to try with the toes up, same thing. 5 to 10 second hold, and bring it down. Next, we're going to go with some leg lowers. So we're going to bring the feet over the hips, hold on to one leg. Exhale as one leg drops down. Exhale, and then exhale. We're going to do 3 on each side. Okay. This is activating the core here and the hamstrings, and then you can try that without any support as a challenge. Next activation drill is going to be for the shoulders again, but this is called the floor slide. We're going to make a W with the elbows. Pull down on an inhale. Keep the ribs down. Don't let them flare out. And then exhale, reach overhead. Try to keep the back of the hands, elbows, wrists, forearms, and shoulders and triceps on the ground. Inhale on the way down. Exhale overhead. Inhale, lower down. Exhale overhead. Okay, so that is an upper body and a lower body plus core activation series along with the shoulder rotations. After activation, we're going to get into the dynamic warm-up or dynamic stretching. So the dynamic stretching, we're going to first attempt is going to be the leg cradle. So we're going to pull one knee to the chest, and the bottom toe is going to point into the ground, and then we're going to step forward with the knee we just grabbed. And then we'll switch. You can do these in place or walking forward. We're going to get about 3 on each side. The next is the leg cradle. We're going to pull the knee, reach for the ankle, and then pull up to the shoulder, and then switch side. Okay? These you can do about 2 to 3 on each side. Next, we're going to go with the heel to butt, and then a reach. So heel to butt, and then reach as you hinge. Step, heel to butt, reach, and hinge. And we're going to go for 2 on each side here. Okay, you can regress this by just doing a one-legged reach. Okay, next thing we're going to do is some high knees. So we're going to first start with some marching with our knees up to our hips. Make sure the opposite arm flexes and the elbow bends contralaterally here. And then we're going to see how fast we can march with a coordinated pattern before our high knees. For our high knees, we want to think trying to get those knees up as high as we can, and also moving those arms contralaterally. After high knees, we're going to go with butt kickers. So you can modify it by just doing one at a time. And then we're going to try to get those heels, touch the glutes, and then relax. Okay? Heart rate should be up now. This is a good time to get into some dynamic warm-up stretches. So for instance, we're going to try the half kneeling rotation here. So hands behind the head. We're going to rotate open both ways. We're just going to do 1 on each side. And go in both directions. Okay. After that, we're going to go to a push-up position. We're going to go to a push-up hold. So we're going to get the hands a little wider than the shoulders, all 10 fingertips on the ground. Squeeze the glutes around the upper back. Try not to be concave like that. And then from here, toes and feet together. Just take a couple inhales and exhales. Okay. Now what we're going to do is get to the knees, slowly lower down as slow as you can with a straight spine. And then once you get to the bottom, we're going to go into some T's and Y's. So thumbs are up, toes are down, reach up and relax, reach up and relax. That's the T. Now Y, you can bring your head down, up and relax, up and relax, and then challenge yourself by going overhead, up and relax, up and relax. Okay, push up into the ground. You're gonna get back to some standing dynamic warm-up stretches. Following the dynamic stretches, we'll get into some power work. So squat pattern, really important when you're dynamic stretching. So just getting in the squat position. You can go side to side. If you can't get the heel down, maybe that's something you might want to try working on as a goal, or put your heels on an elevation pad. Next, toe touch, feet together. Okay, we're gonna bend over, touch the toes with the legs straight, and then come back up. Toe touch, come back up, toe touch, hold. And then from here, we're gonna walk the hands out with the legs straight into a push-up position that we've already done. And then we're gonna walk the feet to the hands, but we're gonna try to keep the legs straight as we do that. So this is the inchworm. We're gonna do 2 inchworms, okay? Forward fold, touch the ground, walk the hands out, If you want to challenge yourself, walk the hands overhead, straighten those knees as you toe step to forward fold, and then stand up. Now we're going to add a pattern to the squat. So toe touch with wide feet, squat down, straighten the knees, stand up, 2 more, squat down, bend over, squat. Challenge yourself if you want by bringing 1 arm, 2 arms up, and then standing up on your last 2. And that is the toe touch to squat, okay? Now we'll focus on that single leg reach, hands at the hips, okay? Starting with a hinge pattern. It's gonna just be bending over with the back straight for 1 or 2 reps. Then we're going to stagger the feet, putting my weight on the front foot, opposite hand moves forward. Like you're about to reach something in front of your chin, and then you're gonna hinge forward, and then stand back up. We'll go for 3 on each side. 2, 3, and then switch. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're going to stretch out the adductors and also perform a lateral squat. So feet are about 4 to 5 feet apart. As far as you can, we're going to reach forward, bend 1 knee, keep 1 knee straight, and then stand up. Reach forward, stand up, reach forward, stand up, and then 3 on the other side. So this is our lateral squat. Notice a lot of movement patterns, compensation patterns while you're doing that. So some people might look like this and stay really high. Okay, some people can't get low into that lateral squat. Now that we are done with our dynamic warm-up, this is the time to perform some jumping patterns, some skipping patterns, okay? More high knees if we wanted to. And like I said, sprinting would be something that we could start to begin after a dynamic warm-up. If sprinting is something that you're willing to do, make sure it's less than 40 yards, 10 to 40 yards, and you give 2 to 5 minutes of rest in between sets for 3 total rounds. So only 3 total reps for sprints for 10 to 40 yards. Make sure you time those sprints. Make sure you rest 3 to 5 minutes, I'd say, in between sets. 2 to 5 minutes in between sets, okay? But we're not sprinting today, so we're gonna be doing some jumping and some plyos and some pogos. So starting with some pogos, after we've gotten some water rested for the last 30 seconds, we're gonna start just pretending that we're jumping rope. This is also a good time to jump rope as well. We're gonna go for about 10 seconds and then relax. We don't need to overdo it as well. So after about 10 seconds of high intensity pogos, we're gonna go for some jumping over a line or imaginary line, side to side. And we're just gonna go for about 2 on each side. Okay, now we're gonna try that on 1 leg. So we're gonna hop over an imaginary line and then hop back. We're gonna go for 2 on each side. And then we're gonna switch legs. 1, 1, 2, 2. Okay, now we're gonna pogo or pretend we're jumping rope on 1 foot for 10 seconds or 3 seconds. If it's too much, you don't have to do this one. And then switch. So pogo on 1 leg, like you're jumping rope, and then on the other. Now we're gonna do some forward pogos. So pogos, the heels will touch the ground, okay, but nice soft landing, and then spring right back up. So pogo forward, both legs. Pogo meaning knees are straight, okay? Now we're gonna go over some high skips. So starting with a march, and then going into our skipping pattern, which is a step, hop, step, hop, step, hop, okay? And with our skip, we're gonna try to get our skips as high as we can. So knees as high as we can, about 2 on each side, okay? Now that we've done some plyos, we're going to get into some vertical jumps. So rest a little. Now we're going to go into some vertical and horizontal jumps, and that will be it for our full dynamic fundamental movement warm up. Okay. So after you've gotten some rest, we're going to hinge the hips back, bend the knee slightly, arms are back, reach up toward the ceiling, jump up toward the ceiling. We're going to go for 3 reps. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now just a horizontal jump, about 1 to 2 feet. We're not going for distance. We're just going for control. So 2 to 4 feet, and we're going for 3 reps. Okay. Now you've gotten in probably about 100 total jumps. You've gotten in a lot of dynamic movement patterns like pushing, squatting, hinging, and you've also warmed up each body part with static and dynamic stretching. So that is the fundamental movement warm-up. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We can progress that, regress that, lots of different options. That was just phase 1. Phase 2, we can get more difficult, and we can regress this into a beginner phase. So let me know if you have questions, comment below, and look forward to talking to you.